Wowee, she is slammed. So she's been on the bricks for about 6 months now. She had to go in for major surgery in November last year. Look at the clearance. So it was a lot of work, and spent all that time in the garage. But now she's safely down. I am possibly a bit overcautious with lowering cars, but is there really such a thing as being overcautious when it comes to lowering a car? It is a ton of steel after all. Whew. Doesn't half make my dicky ticker beat hard doing that. But let's hear it for the really nice low profile jacks, a pair of them. Pretty much essential if you're working on Allegros, because when there's no pressurization in the suspension, they ride very low indeed. Let's also hear it for these tyres, which I don't think they're factory original because they're all different, but I can't find any date codes on them, so they're possibly older than me, possibly older than the car, so they'll do for now. Right, so without further ado, let's get Agnetha out of the garage. She's desperate to go outside and get some fresh air and sunshine. Aren't you, Duck? Let's do it. Sorry, have you just been run over by an Allegro? That doesn't happen often, I can tell you. Certainly not in these parts. Well, there she is. Finally. She's out. And looking splendid. Like always, like always. I gave her an air bath before she came out. Good blast with the compressed air. Oh yes, she's looking fine. Tell you what, Doc, you've left behind a pretty interesting trail of destruction, haven't you? Going to take a bit of cleaning up. Never mind, never mind. Well, I haven't lived in England for a very, very long time, but in all the years I've been away, I've never forgot one principle, which is never do more than 20 minutes work without putting a brew on. Because you're just going to curse it, aren't you? You're going to knacker something up, and if you'd only just stopped and had a cup of tea, you would have thought of something that would have saved you a lot of pain and misery. Thank you. That's not going in, I'm going to cut that out. I won't bother going through all the repairs that I've done since November, because it's quite a big list and I just have a bit of PTSD after it. If I remember, I'll put them on the screen so the nerds can have a look. But today the most significant repair I want to test, that I couldn't really do without putting the car on the ground and taking it on the drive, is the fuel tank repair. So Agnetha's fuel tank was, well, it was blessed by the Holy Spirit in that it was extremely holy. So all of that's been repaired with fiberglass now, and I've put new fuel lines on. It had a new fuel pump already last year, so for the first time we should be able to try and start it with it running on its own fuel tank. So that's a big improvement and a big step closer to the road, but it's also a lot less sketchy than having a boat tank stuck in the engine with a pipe sticking out of it. So next step is to put some fuel in the tank. I wonder when someone did that the last time. Well, actually it was me about 3 days ago, and I stuck 2 litres in just to see if it would hold, and it did. I also water tested it first, so don't worry. Okay, got my £1 million worth of fuel there, about 6 litres. And there's the fuel cap, so I don't know, how do you it's not doing anything. How do you, God, oh yeah, it's from 1976, so you just do that. And look, someone, me, left the key in. So let's take that off. Where did this goes? This goes on the roof, doesn't it? And then you drive off. And get my portable filling station on the go. Probably need a new filler cap as well. Let's see then if we're getting anything registering on the fuel gauge. Is it going to move? Oh yeah, it's moving. Not by much though. Could be a dodgy reading. Obviously you can't get Allegro fuel senders, so I've got an MGB fuel sender and I've hacksawed it, so it's not going to be a big surprise that it might give the odd duff reading, or possibly no readings at all. But I could just use a stick, you know. Right. The fuel system's going to be all dry, and I've read apparently you need to prime these because they just have the mechanical pump on the back of the engine. But I'm just going to try, and because the plugs are already they're just hand tight in there, I'm just going to take the plugs out and spin the engine and see if we can just fill the fuel bowl up. Because if we spin the engine over like that, the fuel pump will be going faster. Maybe it'll just have enough oomph to draw some fuel through. Not so fast. I just remembered in the last video I hadn't quite got this to full before I ran out of oil. So let's just see what it's on. I've got some more oil so I can top it up. Yeah. It's well below minimum. Okay. Oh, just below max. Don't know if you can see that. That will do. Right, now we can get the cranking, see if we can pull that petrol through. We have fuel. So much for priming things. Just take the plugs out and spin it. Hopefully we've still got enough juice in the battery to start this thing. Let's see. 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that it? No dice, and the steering wheel came off. The fuel gauge is reading a quarter full though, so that's pretty good. Ah, dashpot. Dashpot oil. Bone dry dashpot. Okay, we need to fix that first. Very, very occasionally I do actually spend money on the proper stuff. Yeah, I can feel the damper moving. Don't worry children, I'm not going to do the happy dance. I'll just insert some video to show how I feel now. It's not even that much smoke. I think it sounds like it's firing on 3, occasionally 4. Maybe that's just the rings and the valves coming back to life. It's oh, better put the choke in, I think. Disturbingly civilized. Amazing, really. Temperature's going up. We've got fuel. We've got a stereo. That's new. Can we get anything on it? How do I tune it?
pasażer. Wrócił godzinę później z wiaderkiem płotek.
Got a radio, you know, with this much fuel and a radio, maybe we'll just go to Berlin now.
Śpiewając znowu o sierotce, co stukła półka swojej matki szuka.
I'll tell you a bit more about the radio and all the fanciness later. Got the nodding dog as well. He seems very happy. You beast. Well, it all looks good. So the next question is, does she drive? I guess she still does. Haven't really changed anything in the gearbox department. But need a couple of things. Steering wheel, and make sure the handbrake is connected up. Now, get all this crap out and see if the handbrake's still on and still doing anything, because that's the only form of braking we've got right now. Handbrake is connected, but it's not very well adjusted, so trim piece, put it with the pile. So I'll just get this adjusted up and just make sure that it does actually hold. I'm not going to go mad fast with it, but it needs to have just enough braking potential to slow it from a walking pace. That's in. 14.3 volts, so the alternator's working. That's pretty good as well. Well, it should work, it's brand new. Okay, so she's running pretty rough, but I think sounds like it's firing on most of the time on 4 cylinders. Timing's probably off, the carb's off. I haven't done any adjustments, and it's been sitting around for nearly, I don't know, nearly 40 years, maybe 35 years, and it's running okay. However, we don't want to push our luck, so let's just have a look in here. Temperature's right in the middle now, and she sounds all right, but enough of that. Woof. Whoa, they're really comfy, these Allegro chairs are. So what next? Well, the last 6 months have been a pain, you know, it's been an absolute pain. Can I turn that interior light off? Just take the bulb out, that'll do. It's been a lot of work, it's been really hard, and I'm knackered. So I think what I want to do next is some fun jobs. Fun, inexpensive, low risk jobs. So let's have a look. Well, so this is the new radio that I got. It was a Christmas present. So it's by a company called Caliber. There we go, so that's aux, Bluetooth, yeah, jazz radio and aux. I think you can put a you can put a USB card in it, so you don't have to arse around with Spotify on your phone and die, which is a plus. But what about the speakers? Originally there's just this one speaker thing here. Behind there's a lot of wires though, and obviously it's only designed for a mono hi-fi system. What someone has done long ago is try to use this spot here to put a speaker in, and they basically hacked through the door card here, made a real pig's ear of it. I don't want to replace the door cards. I probably could get some, but then it's even less of this car that survived, isn't it? So since someone's gone to the trouble of mutilating it, I thought I might try and install these funky JBLs that I also got for Christmas. Since they're quite small and they got a good all-round sound, and they'll fit in these tiny 80s speaker things. The question is, how do you get the wire through? Do you just put a bit of wire over there, or shall we try and put some proper trunking in? Don't know yet. And how do we tidy it up? It's got to look tidy, hasn't it? The other thing is USB power. So I'd like to do some touring with this car. And we've got the cigarette lighter there, so you could just put a USB power supply in there, but then you kind of lose the 70s, you know, have a smoke whenever you want aesthetic about this car, with the ashtray up here and everything. So I thought, well, the glove box goes there, and that's just in the boot at the minute, just deconstructed because I was getting at the wiring loom. The keen-eyed among you may have noticed the 240 volt Euro plug socket. So this isn't a camper van, it hasn't got an inverter, and it never did have. But what it did have at some point, I'm not sure if it was ever even used, but it had a block heater. So this car was in northern Sweden for all of its career, if you can call it that. And at some point someone had installed a block heater. And apparently when you install a block heater, it's quite common to also install a 240 volt socket that runs in parallel with the block heater. And the idea with that is when it's minus 35, minus 40 degrees in the morning, you plug your car into the wall, so it's heating up the block. But you also have a little fan heater in here, so 240 volt, really powerful one. And you run that for 20 minutes or whatever, and then the inside of the car is nice and warm, and you won't die of exposure on your way to work, which is always a good thing, isn't it? So with this being redundant now, again, when I take that off, it's probably going to be mutilated behind. So I thought maybe I could get one of those marine boat style USB sockets that you can get for boats and caravans. I have to look into that. These are kind of cheap things that I can just try and start to put the interior together again and make it look a bit nicer. But yeah, with these seats it's already super comfortable. Well, anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'm just gonna wrap this one up, tidy up everything, and yeah, that's also going to be quite a big job, isn't it? So thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me, and hopefully soon there'll be some more videos tuning the engine, making the interior nice. Should be a lot more fun than the last lot. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.